Many years ago, I remember sitting in our living room one evening, looking at the childcare costs, the rents, the bill payments, the pension paperwork, and thinking, everybody keeps telling me to invest. But with what money exactly? The childcare bill in the UK alone was higher than my entire salary when I first started working in India. And even in the rare months where there was something left over, I did not know where to put it. Because the financial system I grew up in was Indian, and the financial system that I arrived into is British. And these two are not the same thing. I knew about NPS, I knew about PPF, NRI accounts, mutual funds, life insurance, etc. But suddenly, I was hearing about ISAs, workplace pensions, tax wrappers, auto-enrollment, defined contribution schemes, annual allowances. Wow, a load of jargon. You might have your own jargon depending on where in the world you live. It's almost like learning a whole new language. Now take NRI accounts for example. Now, many NRIs assume that because the interest is tax-free in India, it is tax-free worldwide. What's more, we still have some Indian bankers arguing this point even today. I've made a video on this previously that you're more than welcome to watch. But the truth is, it isn't. If you're a tax resident in the UK, the HMRC will want a share of what you've earned as interest in India through self-assessment. If you're in the US, the IRS will have its own rules entirely. Canada, Australia, the Gulf, every country that you go to treats the relationship between Indian financial products and local tax laws completely differently. This learning curve is not the same wherever you land. Nobody hands you the manual. You'll have to figure it out yourself. Figure it out as you go, usually after making a few expensive mistakes. If you've had one of those moments where you've discovered something the hard way, drop it in the comments. I have a feeling that this might be a long thread. Now, going back to investments, I know many of you are in a version of the same situation that I was a few years ago. Many of my friends are. You might have left India in your 30s, spent more than a few years just figuring things out. And suddenly, you panic because the gap between where you are and where you think you should be is significant. I started investing seriously only at the age of 43. Now, this video will not tell you which fund to buy or where to invest, but it might just change how you think about where you actually stand. Because the story you're telling yourself is harsher than reality. This video is about a bit of reassurance, some clarity, and cutting yourself some slack because you deserve it. Let's first talk about the fear, because the fear is real. That quiet dread when a retirement calculator tells you how much you should have saved by now. You might have felt the sinking feeling when somebody who's approximately your age mentions the size of their pension pot, either in person or on a social media post. Now, for NRIs, there is an additional layer. You left India for opportunity. You worked hard, you built your life from scratch, almost. You're earning much more than you ever did, and yet somehow, you still feel behind. And fear rarely produces good financial decisions. It creates one of two reactions. Either you freeze, or you rush, chase returns, take risks you don't fully understand, and make moves that are designed to outrun guilt rather than actually build wealth. Now, neither of these end well. Now, I'll tell you something else. There was a period where I actively avoided retirement calculators altogether. Not because I did not care, but because I was afraid of what they might tell me. Maybe you've done the same. Which camp have you been in? The freezer camp or the rusher camp? I suspect most of us have been both at some points in time. But understanding that fear is far more useful than just pretending that the fear was never there. Now, let's come to the part that nobody really talks about. Now, many NRIs who feel behind in their 40s are not behind because of poor decision making. They are behind because of the order in which their life happened. Think about what your 30s actually looked like. You were building a career in a country that wasn't home, without the networks, without the references, and without the cultural fluency your local colleagues had by default. You were navigating immigration systems that change every few years. You were supporting family in more than one country. You were sending money home while trying to save here. And you were building a household from scratch. And during that stage of life, those other things mattered more. You did not intentionally delay investing because you lacked discipline. You delayed because you were busy building everything else first. Now, that is not failure. That is just a different sequence. But here's an advantage that nobody expects. Starting later sure has disadvantages, but let's get to the good parts. It also comes with the maturity and understanding, something that a 25-year-old investor simply doesn't have. It comes with clarity. At 25, most people invest without really knowing what they're investing for. Retirement is abstract. the passion to work, to change the world is so strong that I don't really think that I thought about retirement when I was 25 years old. Did you? But in your 40s, you gain perspective. Later is no longer abstract. You know whether you're likely to stay abroad or return home. You know whether your children might need support through university. You know what kind of retirement actually appeals to you. And there is another point that we often tend to underestimate. By this stage, you've lived through enough economic turbulence to know that the financial noise is exactly that. Noise. You've seen markets crash, and you've also seen them recover. Now, research consistently shows that older investors trade less frequently compared to younger ones. And trading less has its advantages. It tends to produce better long-term outcomes. I mean, we don't trade less because we automatically become smarter as we get older, but just because we have developed the virtue of patience. The ability to stay still when everything around us is screaming for us to move. That is the real edge. It just doesn't show up on a compound interest chart. And let's talk about the biggest trap there is in personal finance. Comparison. Someone started at 22. Fine, good for them. But you started only at 42 because that's when you could. You both are not running the same race. You may have a completely different life compared to the person who started at 22. Their starting conditions weren't your starting conditions. Comparison creates a race that never ends because there'll always be somebody who's further ahead in life compared to you. So the better question to ask yourself is, what does a good outcome actually look like for your life? Only you can decide what good looks like for you. The anxiety won't disappear overnight by magic, but at least you're no longer running away from something. In fact, you're consciously working towards something. And these are very different experiences. So just take a moment and think about your life and if you're comparing yourself to someone else. And then think if the comparison is actually fair. If you want, feel free to drop it in the comments. Let's say you're in your 40s now. Now, looking at the rate at which the world is progressing, you probably still have 20 to 25 years before retirement. 25 years, and that is a long, long time. Think about what happened in your previous 25 years, the things you did, the countries you moved to, the careers you built, the person you became. 25 years is not to be taken lightly. 25 years is a major chapter of your life. And here's what many of us as NRIs forget. You may be earning much more now than at any point in your life. Your most expensive years, the years that included childcare, visa costs, family setup, etc., may finally be behind you. The very pressures that made investing feel impossible are now easing up. For many people, the window isn't closing, it's just opening. And there are only 3 things that matter most from here. 3 deliberate shifts in your thinking. The first is about contribution, not return. When you feel behind, you start to focus on finding better investments, higher returns, and the right fund. But for most people at this stage, the bigger lever is not the return. It's the amount that you can put in. Closing that gap, even partially, tends to have much more impact on your mental peace than chasing a higher yield. See if you can make use of some of those tax advantages that most countries provide, of investing within certain wrappers. Minimizing tax and investing the saving is the biggest difference that you can make to accelerate your path to financial freedom, not scouting for higher returns. Before asking how to make your money grow faster, ask whether there's more money you could put to work. It's less exciting, you might even call boring, but it's usually the most powerful. The second aspect is about risk. Less time feels like it means you need to have higher returns, so you take bigger swings and bigger risks. But a significant loss in your late 50s, right before you start drawing down on what you've built, is a very different thing from a loss at the age of 30. At 30, you have decades to recover, but at 57, you may not have. The instinct to take more risk to make up for starting late is one of the most common ways late starters undo the progress that they've already made. Steady, diversified, low cost. Boring always tends to win. If you disagree with this, or if I've missed something, tell me, because I'm not an expert, I'm still figuring out a lot of this myself. And the third aspect is about definition. What does enough actually look like for your life? Not what a calculator suggests, not what social media suggests, not even what your colleague seems to be building towards. It's your life, so it needs to be your version of financial freedom. Until you know what you're building toward, every decision is made in a fog. And this is where we as NRIs often have an advantage that nobody talks about. You lived in more than one economic reality. You lived in more than one country. You understand the cost structures of life in India and the cost structure of life where you are now. A retirement that combines time in India with some time abroad looks completely different financially from the one that stays put in one location. For many of you, this option is possible if you want to take it. Now, this is not a consolation prize for starting late. This is actually a great advantage to have, which many people haven't even considered. So let's go back to the cliche where they say the best time for investing was years ago and the next best time is now. Many of us did not get to choose the order in which our life happened. Surely you didn't spend your 30s building a portfolio. So what? You spent it building your life, and that is important. The question isn't whether you started late. The question, in fact, should be, what are you going to do with the remaining 20 or 25 years? The future doesn't care about when you should have started. It only cares about what you do next. Now, if this landed, if it said something you needed to hear, share it with one person who needs it too. Because that person probably won't find it on their own. I'll see you in the next one.